As he spoke, the dogs had gotten good hold of the young woman's flanks and stopped her. The knight, overtaking them, dismounted. Nastagio said, "I don't know who you are or how you know me, but I'll tell you this much. It's base cowardice for an armed knight to want to slay a naked woman and set his dogs to bring her down as though she were a wild animal. For my part, I will protect her in so far as I can." Then the knight said, "Nastagio, I was born in your hometown, and you were still a little boy when I, whose name was Ser Guido degli Onesti, was even more intensely in love with this woman than you are with the Traversari girl. Her ferocity and cruelty towards me were my undoing. One day, in despair, I killed myself with the very sword you see in my hand, and damned myself thereby to eternal suffering. Nor was it long after that this woman, only too delighted by my death, herself died. For the sin of so gruesomely enjoying my torture, which she never regretted, as if she thought her ferocity no fault but a positive virtue, she was likewise damned to the pains of hell. When she descended to the pit, this judgment was passed upon us, that she must flee before me, and that I, who once so loved her, must pursue her now with fury in place of desire. As often as I overtake her, I kill her with the sword I used to kill myself. Then, opening her back, I pull out her organs, and especially that cold, hard heart where never entered love or pity. Yanking them out, as you are about to witness, I throw them for food to these dogs. Soon thereafter, as God's justice demands and his omnipotence effects, she rises up as though never dead, and recommences her anguished flight while the dogs resume their pursuit. It is decreed that every Friday I overtake her in this place, and here I inflict the punishment you shall see. Do not imagine we have respite on other days. I encounter her in all the various locations where she cruelly planned or acted against me. As her enemy instead of her lover, I am forced to follow her in this fashion for as many years as she passed months being brutal to me. Let me carry out the sentence of divine justice, and don't oppose yourself to what you cannot contest." At these words, Nastagio was somewhat taken aback. In fact, there wasn't a hair on his head that didn't stand upright. Withdrawing a few paces, still watching the unfortunate girl, he fearfully awaited what the knight would do. The cavalier, having concluded his discourse, sword in hand, ran raging like a mad dog upon the maiden who, on her knees, held in place by the two mastiffs, cried aloud for mercy. With all his strength he drove his brand through the center of her chest so that it passed clear through and came out her back. After receiving this blow, she fell forward on her face, weeping and screaming still. The knight took a dagger, with which he opened her back near the kidneys, and dragging out her heart and all the internal organs, he threw them to the hounds, who straightway devoured them as eagerly as if they'd been starving. But it wasn't long before the maiden, as though none of this had ever occurred, got abruptly to her feet and began running towards the shore, the dogs at her sides tearing at her as often as they might, and the knight, mounted once more, brandishing his sword, resumed the pursuit. Soon they were all so far away Nastagio could no longer see them. Afterwards, Nastagio stood there, transfixed by pity and fear. But after a while it entered his mind that he could use all this to his advantage, seeing that it recurred punctually every Friday afternoon.
As